Right, let's remove this boy. Go to Concussive Strikes. So I spent like a fortune on redoing my Shaco. And now I have like double cooldown reduction on my Shaco, and it took me for like forever. So I guess technically you would need 16 full attempts to masterwork a Shaco. Mine took like 150. Literally burns through like 1500 of those Ness iron or whatever those things are called. Actually, it's ridiculous. But I want to do 110 and then I want to move on to a different build because this keeps getting boring, I have to say. Do you have my enchantment? No. Very nice, I'm going with Flame Shield enchantment here. We have damage numbers. I don't like damage numbers. So I basically removed the last little bit of defenses. So literally everything will one-shot me. It doesn't matter what hits me. Like even the smallest whatever this is will kill me instantly. I can clear like 80 in like 3 minutes, which is not very good. But I guess, you know, Frozen Orb's probably not a speed clearing build. I mean, if you would invest more into boss damage, like playing control, it would probably go a little bit faster. But I don't want to... I just want to upgrade my Shaco and upgrade my last weapon, because I'm like sick bricking weapons. I literally bricked like 10 greater affix wands today without a single one being even remotely usable. The last one I bricked, which would be nice, but it got damage to distant. Oh, whatever this was. So yeah, usually it's like done in like 3 minutes, this level here. But it's not a good farming build. Definitely not. So I gotta change to charge glyph when pushing. I really hope I have the required cooldown reduction. Because I'm still relying a little bit on elemental attunement procs. But if I have charge glyph, I have to teleport every like 3 or 4 seconds, which is kind of dangerous. But yeah, I don't know. I have to switch my enchantment. But now literally I'm like the glass cannon of all glass cannons. It doesn't get any worse. What was I gonna do? Enchantment slot. I might just go for Firebolt enchantment. I think it's faster farming than Ice Blades, and I don't need Ice Blades. Ultimately I don't want to play Ice Blades enchantment at all. I think it's a wasted enchantment, and I really only need it for the like last 0.1 seconds of cooldown reduction there. Let's go for let's start with 80. I really have to check because the double cooldown reduction Shaco gives like, I think like 4% more than the regular one. And I have one greater FX cooldown reduction focus in my stash. And I really don't know if I want to brick that. Oh, look at that. Soul shot. I don't even know what these soul shots are, man. That's like some kind of environmental effect which you can freeze. And I have to switch off damage numbers. But it goes so much faster in the dungeon with Firebolt enchantment. Like it's really, if you're farming, like it's such a huge difference there. Like it's like an extra, I mean it's extra like 40% damage, I think. Somewhere around that. Don't know the exact numbers. No, I don't think I'm gonna switch to Firebolt. I want to try something different. Firebolt is pretty much already figured out, so I want to really try some other builds. Let me drop damage numbers. I want to try Conjurations. I want to try Hydra. And I want to try like late game Blizzard. Like that's the two things I want to try basically. Firebolt, I don't know. Like I don't really see like a point in doing that. Also, I'm gonna be on vacation for like 3 weeks. In like 2 weeks, and you know, when I'm back, you know, the season's probably anyway pretty much over for everyone, I guess. I mean, maybe it's still going on, but I mean, it depends if there's gonna be any kind of mid-season patch with meaningful content, but you know, I don't really see that. So I really want to try like the Hydra with the fire damage, because you can really get like a high amount of critical strike damage. And right now, you know, I am having the problem that I cannot fill my Paragon boards. Like, I don't have enough good glyphs for my Paragon boards. And, you know, I have to play nodes which only give 15% instead of 30% multiplicative, because, well, I simply don't have any other ones. And if I, you know, I'm thinking like switching this exact same build, but to Hydra, to fire damage, so still play the same story with the frozen orbs and everything, but just change the frozen orb damage basically to fire damage, and then just try to scale the Hydras. Because I feel like the Hydras can do quite a bit of damage actually. Honestly, it's pretty much the same. Like there's not a big difference between vulnerable and crit damage. I really like did another like 8 hours of testing, and there seems really no interactions whatsoever with either crit damage and vulnerable damage, so it's really just additive damage. The odd thing is like the vulnerable multiplier, at least, you know, from my testing with like 400 data points for the second test in the row, was just 10%. So like something is like awfully off there. So let's see how much flame shield I get here. Without Ice Blades enchant. And that was already bad. I mean, yeah, I mean, without Ice Blades enchant, I'm too slow, so I couldn't push with this at this point because I don't have the cooldown reduction. That was like an elemental attunement proc, so I wouldn't actually have the flame shield. So at this point I still need Ice Blades enchant, but it's like super minimal effect. The burning damage will be increased too, yeah. No, it will increase any kind of damage. Okay. How much do I need to upgrade my Shaco? Okay, a lot. No, Hydra skills is on Helmet, but they still scale pretty high in damage. So I just did like some, you know, some loose testing without committing to critical strike, and I was getting like 500 to 750k a hit from a Hydra. I mean, that was actually pretty strong. And I don't know how high that would scale if you completely commit into critical strike damage. And you can also commit into burning damage as well. So if you commit completely into critical strike damage and burning damage, so if you go for burning instinct and searing heat, I think those Hydras you know, you would play them with Firebolt enchant as well, and they have their native 60% burning as well. I mean, I don't know how much burning it's gonna do, but you know, you have some good synergies there because you can use the Asus Ferocity multiplier there. You can use the again, you can use the Searing Heat multipliers, so you get basically better multipliers than in the Frost builds. What is happening here? I don't understand these guys. Firebolt is better, I guess. I guess there's like not much to say about it. It's just the broken multipliers. I think I'm just dying all the time here. I don't know. Well, so I mean, I already changed this build to like a pushing build, which literally has no survivability, so it's like not so smart to actually farm with this. I just need some extra materials there. Just need to be a little bit more careful here with those mobs. I'm just like dying all the time. Like, what did I change? Just Firebolt enchant? Like, super odd, actually. Oh, it's tier 85. I misclicked. I wanted to play tier 80. I don't understand. This is not what I want to do. So, I mean, I literally did 8 hours of testing, like, the past 2 days, and this stuff is definitely broken. So, there's also nothing like, you know, I couldn't find any additive damage. I couldn't find any interactions between vulnerable, cold damage, or whatsoever. It just looks like those modifiers just do 15% multiplicative instead of 30. And that's all 3 of them. So Shredding Blades, Storm Swell, and Frigit Fate, they do exactly the same thing. Like, literally, I have the same numbers. I have 200 data points on everything. I'm gonna release that stuff soon. I have literally like exactly the same data, and they all do like 15%. And the really odd thing I found is, like, the base vulnerable damage, which is supposed to be 20%, was just 10% in my tests. Which was throwing me off in the very beginning, because if it would have been 20%, my calculations wouldn't have forced me to, like, you know, rely on these tooltips, because if you change it and the vulnerable multiplier is really just 10%, like, it all makes perfect sense, and it seems like the tooltips are the problem, but it is really not. But I don't know, like, I really have no clue why it's 10%. I have like one test of sets with like 400 data points on the dummy where my vulnerable damage was just 10 extra %. And then I did like one data set today with 200 data points. So 200 data points baseline on the Varshan. And it also was like a 10% increase. And on the vulnerable side, I tested basically, you know, all vulnerable damage. I tested all cold damage, and I tested no vulnerable damage and no cold damage. And they all had exactly the same damage numbers. So I actually have like 600 data points, and they all had like 10% more than without vulnerable damage, which is like extremely odd. And I don't know if I think I have to test that again, but it is super strange because it's supposed to be 20%. But I really don't understand what's going on with that, honestly. I mean, Frigid Fate works on everything. It didn't have to do anything with the damage type. I mean, it's definitely broken. Like, to me, it just looks like they just do half. It's, like, really strange. But, yeah. So they're not additive or anything. I couldn't really find any conclusion other than they're just doing half of what they say. Yeah, exactly. I basically took, like, 400% all damage versus 400% vulnerable damage. And literally the data points were exactly the same. So I did that for every single one. So for Storm Swell, Shredding Blades, Icefall, and Frigid Fate. And I had no difference in damage whatsoever. So it was exactly the same. Like, no difference. So there was really no interaction between those values at all. It's really strange. But I mean, it was... I have to change this back. Like, I cannot play like this. I have to put my Ice Blade enchant back on. I have to go Immortal. This doesn't work. I have to hit like 45%. And I'm at like 43. And I'm still dying. Like, it's so annoying. So, basically, I literally removed every single bit of damage reduction from this build. So I'm literally running 0% damage reduction. And the result is everything one-shots you like instantly. Doesn't matter what hits you. Like, everything kills you instantly. So, I mean, damage reduction still does something. Like, it's not worthless. It doesn't save you from most one-shot mechanics. But, you know, on this farming state, you know, it definitely does something. And I cannot even kill this boss. Because I don't have enough cooldown reduction to get my flame shield up. And it's like extremely annoying. So I really need to get my Ice Blades enchantment back. I'm just gonna plain die to this. I really thought it would work, but it doesn't work without... So I really need more cooldown reduction here. I also have a new new chest piece with more flame shield duration. But yeah, I gotta fix this. No, its flame shield was down. So I have to play back. I have to put Ice Blades enchant. Oh, and also okay. And I just noticed I'm not playing tech speed, so that might be the reason there as well. So let me just and again, I mean, I'm gonna revert to this one here. So I guess, you know, from the last round of testing, I may technically damage to close will be the best one. And then depending on your crit chance, it's gonna be either crit damage or whatever damage. So after crit damage, all the damage types are basically the same. So... yeah, I think Meteor doesn't work. I was just like so... so when I put like my fire ball build, I was like so underwhelmed by the damage of the fireballs. I couldn't even get them hit for like 2 million. Which was kind of odd. Oh, soul shot. Like these soul shots are like killing me. I don't even see them. But they always kill me. Because I can't freeze them. So there's definitely disadvantages to removing all your damage reduction. So maybe I should get the damage reduction from burning back from Paragon, because that's like actually a big amount. Crit damage, if you have a very high crit chance, crit damage just rolls higher. That's really just what it is. Like, there's no interactions whatsoever, it just rolls a little bit higher. But you really, like, if you have like 80% crit chance, I guess crit damage becomes better. If you have below 80% crit chance, probably the other types are still better. Because, you know, there's still non-crits, which, you know, don't get your crit damage, technically. But close damage also rolls higher. And essentially, all what matters is the boss fight. So it's really just the highest roll there. In a Blizzard build, you would, for example, obviously go for Ice Spike damage, because that's the highest roll. In a Fire build, you would always go for Pyromancy critical strike damage, I guess. But yeah, it's just so broken. Yeah, I mean, vulnerable and crit, they're just fine. It just turns out that, you know, close damage is just a little bit better. But it's not, like, unplayable without. Like, the roll is not so different there, actually. Like, vulnerable damage rolls up to, like, 60%, and I guess close damage to 80 or something like that. So it's not like it's a difference in, like, night and day. And also you have to roll it, obviously. So let's see if Immortal works. Oh god. Right. So close. I really need that extra cooldown reduction. But it has been so close before. I mean, I was able to clear 105 with this. But this is too close, right? I mean, this just works. But it has to be... You have to have a little bit more overlap to get it working. No, so... They are simply additive damage. They have no buckets whatsoever, it seems like. Make a Shaco upgrade here. I thought it would be. I still have to do some testing with fire. With the 3 curses, if that actually multiplies. But, you know, it looked like this. Also, the tooltips looked like this. And, you know, because the inherit crit was only a 10% multiplier, was leading me to that, but it's still not. It is, like, I literally tested it today. It doesn't matter. Like, all additive damage types are literally the same. There's no interaction between any specific type of damage. I literally tested, like, for, like, 6 to 8 hours today and also yesterday. Like, it's all the same. I really tested, like, you know, 500% all damage versus 500% cold damage versus 500% vulnerable damage versus crit damage. I tested all of them and there was no interaction whatsoever. Really, all did exactly the same, just additive damage. Devouring Blaze is not multiplying with crit damage. None of the bugged sorcerers, vulnerable damage multiplicators have any certain interaction with those additive damage types. They are just broken and just do half of what they're supposed to do. Not even Shredding Blades, even though it has a different wording. Shredding Blades also is doing exactly the same what Swell does, even though it has a different wording. It says, you know, increases your vulnerable damage, while the other one says increased damage to vulnerable enemies. But it is just a different wording, but it does exactly the same thing. And that's also why, like, what other peoples are, like, testing there. That is basically just half of it. I don't think there's, like, any additive stuff going on. I would have noticed the additive problems. No, Devouring Blaze is not broken. It works just like the tooltip. Just gives you an extra 21% damage on crits, so it really does what it's supposed to be. Also tested that one. Also tested Asus Ferocity because some streamer said Asus Ferocity damage is still bugged and works for all, so it doesn't. So Asus Ferocity damage really works just on fire. I tested it with cold, it didn't work. So really beside from those broken... So it's like basically there's 3 major things which are broken. And one which I'm not 100% sure, right? Frigit Fate is broken, it only gives half. Shredding Blades is broken, it only gives half. Swell is broken, it only gives half. And then the other thing which, you know, I'm not 100% sure if that's actually true. In my test it was true, but, you know, it doesn't make any sense to me, is that the vulnerable base multiplier was not 20% but 10%. And that is, I don't know, it's like super odd, but that is what I now, like, calculated 2 times in a row. Oh god. Please not. So it's really annoying to play an infinite flame shield build without having infinite flame shield. No, I still wouldn't use Starless, guys. But I mean, you can do it. But I feel like, so you will basically lose attack speed. One entire breakpoint, or you have to play Asus Ferocity. And if you switch to Starless Sky and play Asus Ferocity, you basically win one attack speed breakpoint. But you lose like somewhere around, I don't know, like 10 to 15% damage maybe. It's obviously good to fix your mana, but I don't have any mana problems. Yeah, the Firebolt, so the thing with the Firebolt build is the Flame Shield uptime is unconditional, right? Because you always get the same reduction. You shoot 4 basic attacks, or 5, whatever it is, and it gives you like 2 seconds cooldown reduction. So that's like a static interaction. While the Flame Shield, so the Ice Blades, is not static. So if you are like, if the boss, for example, disappears, is the biggest problem. If the boss disappears, your Ice Blades don't hit the boss and they don't reduce the cooldown. So for any kind of boss leaving the arena, which is basically 2, like Sharpshooter and I guess the... What is it called? I don't even remember. Like it's the guy with the axe, I think. Those 2 leave the arena, and that is a problem for this build because, you know, your immortality is not going to work like that. And for Firebolt it's different because you can just shoot in the air and it still keeps your cooldown reduction up. So just shooting 4 Firebolts in the air will still reduce your cooldown, while this build relies on Ice Blades having to attack, which is a big disadvantage there. Also in the dungeon phase, right, the Firebolt build, you will just cast Firebolt and teleport, so you will have always Flame Shield. With this build I have to move, and you know, I have to rely on crowd control because I will not have 100% Flame Shield uptime during the dungeon. It's usually not a huge deal, like even if you're high pushing, the dungeon is not like such an issue, because in the higher dungeons it's still going to be the same, right? The elite packs are going to take a significant amount of time. So you will also have like permanent Flame Shield on them. It's more like in between the packs, or like if these things happen, you just gotta be like a little bit careful. And that is a problem you don't have when we play Firebolt. So like like I don't really like this build. Because I don't really like the way of, you know, having to play an Immortal build to be able to compete. But it has been like this with Sorg since like Season 1 basically, right? Like defenses on Sorg are just like completely broken. And it has always been like this. So it is, again, it's something which is not really made for me in general. I prefer to have survivability. So, for example, having a high life pool and, you know, keeping myself alive with Leech or something like that. But, you know, the boss mechanic at the pits unfortunately breaks that. The dungeon phase would be no problem to, like, get over with Leech and stuff like that. Absolutely no problem. But the one-shots, you just cannot get over. And that, I feel like, is breaking the Sorceress. Like, other classes like Barbarian have no problem with that because they can stack, like, 250k hit points. Or, like, you know, I think Rogues can also get, like, a decent hit point pool. And they all have, like, dodge mechanics and stuff like that. And, you know, they have, like, crazy damage mitigation mechanics. And Sorg, like, literally has nothing. Like, Lightning Sorg has a good amount of damage reduction, but it's not going to be enough to save you from a one-shot. And the problem here is, Sorceress life, you always have to sacrifice damage. And if you want to compete, you cannot really sacrifice damage. Yeah, I can get 50k HP easy, but I have to sacrifice, like, 50% damage for that. So I will not be able to compete anyway with any kind of Immortal setup. And I'm still gonna get one-shot, right? If, like, this guy is gonna one-shot me, it doesn't matter if I have 50k HP or not. I'm gonna get one-shot. Even if I have 100k, this guy is gonna one-shot me because I don't have the damage reduction. And the only way of getting damage reduction would be then getting, you know, items which don't do damage. Or, like, Paragon nodes. So it's really, for, like, high pushing, it doesn't really do a whole lot. So you have to be like top 150. You have to be above like 150% damage reduction or something like that. So it even does something. Redding Blades plus Flame Shield plus Ice Shield. What that's gonna do? Redding Blades is basically bugged. It doesn't help you. It just gives 15% damage. Ice Shield helps with those damage spikes, definitely. Again, I'm not playing it right now because I'm still I want to push Hydra because that gives me 12% damage. I mean, I have the breakpoints for Frozen Orb. No, the Ice Shield is also not gonna help you from being one-shot. I mean, you would have to... Basically what you could do is you would have to get about 75k HP. Then you have to get very high ranks in Ice Shield. And you would have to get at least 120, 130% damage reduction. Then you would probably survive a couple of hits from a tier 100 boss or something like that. But again, like to reach that, you would have to sacrifice so much damage that you couldn't even kill that boss. So I guess it depends, like what, if you want to push high, it's not going to work, right? If you want to settle for like farming in the like tier 100 range, you know, it's probably going to work. You probably can build as much survivability, so you can actually, you know, take a couple of hits. If you can kill the bosses fast enough. No, I don't think with Frozen Orbs is possible. That is the thing, because the Firebolt... I mean, the Frosty Strikes does decent damage, and it's basically for free, right? You just you have to put one aspect, and it does a crap ton of damage. So it's really beneficial, but you have to play Teleport Enchant, and I cannot really play Teleport Enchant in this build because I don't have... Well, I could, but I would have to sacrifice my crit chance then and stuff like that. So it works way better with Fire, obviously, because Fire just naturally has way more crit chance. And it's easier to scale. It has native burning, basically, with Firebolt, right? So, yeah, Ice Shield is based... so Ice Armor is based on your maximum life. So yeah, I mean, for farming, that's totally fine. But you're not going to push high with... putting defensive item. That's why Firebolt is so high, because they can even play Raiment of the Infinite, right? So it just gives you like so much more options for just putting out more damage, because you literally don't have to spec anything into defenses, right? You're gonna have permanent flame shield no matter what, and you're not gonna have any issues with surviving. And that's why the build pushes highest. And I don't think it's gonna change, honestly. So if you want to push high, probably Firebolt is the best. And probably even for farming, it's probably be the best. And also, it's also not very expensive to build. Like, Frozen Orb, you need like crazy gear. And Firebolt, you really just need to roll some Firebolt on your weapons and call it a day. Like, it's not so gear reliant, I would say. I mean, I would say it is stronger than this build in any kind of scenario, honestly. Yeah, but the Ice Armor barrier caps out at the maximum barrier. And the maximum barrier, I think, is your maximum life or something like that. I don't even really... So, it is not infinite. I think it caps at your maximum life. You don't need pretty crazy gear for Infinite Flame Shield Firebolt. You can always just put your hectic aspect on your amulet, and you can literally play it with absolute crap gear. So the thing is, if you play your hectic on your amulet, it's so easy. Like, you really don't need any gear at all. You just need like the 2 flame shield duration tempers. You might even just need 1, honestly. So you don't really need crazy gear for that. You don't need crazy greater affixes. Just if you want to, change your hectic aspect to somewhere else, obviously you're going to push 5 tiers lower or something like that. But if you want to just make the build to have a good farming build, just put your hectic on your amulet and you're going to be fine. And when you really start feeling that missing damage, well, then you're probably going to be able to get better gear as well. You mean 33% cooldown reduction? No, Firebolt build can't use Starless Skies because it doesn't spend resource. Pyromancy attack speed is attack speed 2, so it's not the regular attack speed. But still, Pyromancy attack speed is crazy expensive. So, because, it is the same temper than damage. So, the good thing is in Pyromancy you can play Asus Ferocity, so you really don't need so high attack speed. I mean, I have a video where the flame shield of the breakpoint of Firebolt is. I think it's like, what was it? I don't even remember the exact number. I think it's 231 attack speed for 5 Firebolts per second, the highest frame. But I don't think you need the highest. I think, the second highest is also fine. But I haven't checked that yet. So, getting 45% cooldown reduction, you need to have at least... I mean, if you have greater FX cooldown reduction, it's super easy. I don't have any greater FX cooldown reduction, so I have to rely on masterworking. You have to hit like... I think 4 or 5. I think you have to hit 5 master workings to get to 45% cooldown reduction. If you have good rolls. It's way easier if you have greater affixes though. The tooltips, you mean the attack speed tooltips, they have nothing to do with your frames. What? Come on. No. X-Force does no damage. That ring is out. Gonna give you free cooldown reduction though. But still, you cannot really play that. Like, the damage is so little, which is coming from X-Falls. I think it was like 210% or something like that. I don't remember the exact number on on the highest attack speed for basic skills. But I wouldn't salvage the Starless guys. I would rather farm another Spark. So, I mean, I have... what do I have? I have 43.9 right now. And, I'm getting very close to permanent. I mean, I am technically at permanent, but there's also... So, here's the thing, right? If you stop casting Frozen Orbs before casting your Flame Shield, it's gonna be permanent. But the timing is very hard, so you're basically gonna cut off your Frozen Orb to reactivate your Flame Shield. Because if your flame shield basically comes off right at the same second where you're casting a frozen orb, you have to wait for the frozen orb animation before you can cast your flame shield, and then you're gonna die. And that's like the 0.2 seconds or something like that I'm missing, so I can comfortably just spam. Do I need any of these? I don't know. You know, I don't mind being below the other classes, honestly. It's okay for me. Like, you know, maybe they fix the stuff and, you know, if they fix the Sorc passives, like all of a sudden we're gonna have like 50% more damage, somewhere around that. So, you know, eventually it's gonna happen, right? I think One Ring has cold damage because you want to reach the 30% for Frigit Fate. Oh god, that's not a good place to be. I think I'm gonna go back into my defenses. It's like annoying, I die way too much in the dungeon. Well, I mean, but barbs only do like, you know, 100 million every like 2 seconds with one hit, so... And you do like 50 frozen orbs a second or something like that, so... I mean, 50% more damage is not gonna put it at the top, but you know, it should be because the nodes are not working. So we basically just have nodes and aspects which are not giving the full damage buffs. And that is obviously damage which is missing there. And also that's multipliers, right? So if you have two, if you're missing like 2 times 15% multiplier, that's actually more than 30%, you know? I don't know what max roll description says, but I don't really care. I mean, attack speed is, you know, I don't know if you know, so nobody can know if there's a limit on the second bucket, honestly, because there's no tooltip showing that. So I get the idea that there's 2 buckets with 100%, but you literally have no way of verifying the second bucket if it's really 100% or not. Because, you know, you can just say, you know, I'm reaching lower frames or something like that. But you cannot verify if that's related to a limit in the bucket or just, you know, you are like not reaching the flame limit. So... But I also like the limits. I feel like there's like so many limits. The problem with Sorc is, you know, there's so many limits. Why is there limits on the number of ice blades? Why is there limits on the number of blizzards I can stack? Like, you know, we now have all these crazy new items, so we can reach like crazy, you know, attack speed and other breakpoints, and we can reach crazy amounts of cooldown reduction. But you know what? Sorc like doesn't really benefit from that because everything is limited regardless. Then also, like, all other classes have like these nodes, right? For example, like, you know, Rogue has a node which gives like basically unlimited multiplicative damage for additive vulnerable damage. Like barbs have those nodes with bleed for critical strike. Like literally every class has those limits. So we have one node which is Frigit Fate, which is not even working, but it caps at 30%. Then we have, you know, Searing Heat, it caps at 30%. So now that we can temper like these high amounts of additive damage, our nodes still cap at 30%, so we cannot benefit from the double dipping all the other classes do. And I feel like I don't see the reason for that. They just have to remove those caps. They don't, the caps don't make sense with the new tempering system. Because all other classes don't have the caps. So for Barb, it's extremely crazy because, you know, they can temper like 4 weapons and get like, you know, 2,000 to 3,000% critical strike damage. And then have an uncapped node which is scaling out of that, right? So obviously it's going to be completely imbalanced. Like if, for example, if Frigit Fate would be working, right, properly, and it wouldn't be capped, then I could just get, you know, 1,000% cold damage, and that node would give me like, I don't know, 120 or 150% X or something like that. I don't even know how much. Right? But it is not like that. It's capped. So, yeah, if Fractured Winterglass would just be summoning lightning spears when the Hydra and the Ice Blades cap would be reached, that would be pretty awesome. But yeah, essentially, like, that's also like an issue, right? Fractured Winterglass, basically, you know, the summoning is not 100% because, you know, Hydras are going to be kept all the time and Ice Blades are going to be kept all the time. So literally, like, just every third conjuration you get is actually getting out, right? So that makes this Winterglass significantly weaker. Like, if Ice Blades wouldn't be kept, like, the build would be so much fun. All right, let's see if we can get triple cooldown reduction here. Let's go. Ah, garbage. Garbage. No, vulnerable is not the best stat. Best stat is probably close damage and then critical strike damage. But yeah, the limits are really like, it's a huge problem. And they just have to remove the limits. So I mean, these limits, if you look at the Frigid Fate node, right? Where is it? So basically, right, 10% of your total cold damage, right? So basically, if you temper 100% cold damage on your weapon, or I think it's 80% actually. So where's cold damage? So 80% cold damage, right? So every of these items would be 8% multiplicative. So that's 8, 16, 24. Another ring. So you would have an extra, what is it? I don't even want to calculate it. Let's just say you have an extra 30% just from that node for free, right? That would already be huge. But it is limited like that. And I don't even know why it's limited because, you know, it doesn't even reach that high values, right? If you look at the other classes, like they're multiplicative, they reach like in the 1,000% multiplicatives. And, you know, we are getting limited and we couldn't even reach more than like 70% or something like that. So that is, it's just extremely frustrating. And same with the fire, like where I guess it stops at like, does it also stop at 30%? I think so. So it's just for no reason, I feel like. You cannot undo the upgrades. No, you have to reset them. But yeah, so I mean, they gotta rework that. So they gotta totally rework Sorg, and you know, I guess at the current state, we would probably get, like, you would have to double the damage. Maybe even get a little bit further than doubling the damage for Sorg to be competitive. And honestly, it has been like this forever, right? It just didn't, it just didn't, you know, you just wouldn't realize because all the other classes would be overkill damage and Sorg would just be doing enough damage, right? So Sorg would be pretty good because she would be faster in the dungeons and stuff like that, and she still had enough damage for the bosses, while all the other classes had just a trillion overkill on bosses. Like, so, I mean, what's the point of overkilling the boss like 10 times with a one-shot? You know, obviously that's going to be something different than, you know, a Sorg needing 10 seconds to kill that boss. But in the end, those 10 seconds wouldn't really matter at all. But now it actually matters, right? Because now you basically need raw damage. And so that's why Sorc has always been extremely far behind, except for Season 2 with Bug Ball Lightning. And why was that? Because Ball Lightning was like doing 10 times the supposed damage or something like that. So there you can see that we're actually like by a factor 10 behind the other classes. Because the other classes were on par with like the Bug Ball Lightning actually. So it's really like so far behind. Yeah, but nobody wants to play Incinerate, that's the problem. I mean, I know they keep buffing Incinerate, but nobody cares about that build. It's not playable. It's just too slow. Like, nobody wants to play Incinerate. Like, literally. Nobody wants to stop and shoot Incinerate. You know, if you could shoot Incinerate while moving, that would be fine. But, you know, the build itself is just invalidated. I mean, at least I don't enjoy, like, these kind of things. I want to, like, have a fluent gameplay. I don't want to stop and shoot. So wait. So they said they hotfixed it. Do I have to install the patch? Or do I have to make more damage now? Like, I literally tested all that stuff today and now they patched it. I highly doubt that they actually did it, but you know, we're gonna retest it, I guess. It's so funny. So they say like 7 times it works. So I literally spent like 6 hours today testing it, and now they fixed it. Oh my god, that's hilarious. Interestingly enough, they say it's only on bosses. Honestly, I don't believe that until I see it. But that hotfix you wouldn't even need to install, right? It's like a server-side hotfix. I don't think that's a client-side patch because the damage doesn't get calculated on the client, it gets calculated on the server. With these fixes, 50% more damage, somewhere around that, if it works. I mean, it would be somewhere around 50%. It depends what aspects you play, actually. I wonder if they also fixed the 10% inherent vulnerable damage issue there. But it's funny that they, like, said it's not broken all the time, and literally everybody knows that it's broken for, like, at least, like, literally in the start of the season, like, we already discovered that those nodes were not working properly. Well. Maybe it's already out, then I should... then I should... Oh, Lizard. Oh dear. I mean, the flame shield is alright, I guess. Like this. Guess it's enough for pushing. So I'm just gonna upgrade my wand there. Yeah, I mean, it might just be on bosses. Like, literally nobody tested it on non-bosses because, you know, it's just like such a pain to test it on other stuff. So I'm just gonna keep upgrading this wand now. Like, I'm really sick of it. Even though it's terrible.
There's something special.
This is even good. This one at least has decent stats on it. So I'm gonna upgrade this and then go for push. Yeah, I'm gonna finish this wand, really. I have other items I want to swap, but I'm not gonna do it. Oh wait, this was wrong. I mean, I wanted to kill a bunch of like tormented Lord Zers for getting the what's it called? The Winter Glass. Trying to find the Greater Havocs one. I'm just gonna finish that wand though. It's gonna take like 10 more pits or something like that. Because I'm probably not even gonna advance then from there. Like, I'm gonna go push. But I don't think I'm gonna go through like year iterations. I wanna start testing other builds before I, you know, invest into this. Because I personally don't really like this build so much, I have to say. I mean, it's cool, but, you know, the pushing with the build is really annoying. Like, very stressful and stuff like that. So I really want to try some different stuff there. Technically, I have a focus with cooldown reduction. And I could roll that. I think I'm gonna do that because I have material to upgrade that. I'm gonna try and roll that focus. If I brick it, then, you know, I throw it away. But if not, you know, that would help me a lot with pushing. But I honestly don't believe that picks until I see it. I mean, I kind of like the crafting. The only thing I don't like that tempering is, you know, that you can brick your items. Because it really takes forever to get the items. I mean, if you play on seasonal, you basically have to buy them. Like, with trading, it is kind of okay. Like, I cannot trade because I play on Eternal, and there's literally no trading. Like, that boss is horrible for this build. Do I feel like I do no more damage already? I think I do more damage already, honestly. I think that fixes might already be out. Yeah, baseline vulnerable, because that's what I discovered that today, because baseline vulnerable just seems to be 10%. Right? And if they write that in the patch notes, I mean, I didn't read it yet, but, you know, if they say baseline vulnerable, that's basically what I said. Like, it was 10%, and I was like super confused because nobody else has been saying that baseline vulnerable was just 10%, but for me it was 10% for whatever reason. The stupid thing is I literally like did 6 to 8 hours of testing. I have like I don't even know, like 2 hours of recording. I have a spreadsheet with like 15 different tabs. Like I literally tested everything today. So I wanted to release it for like Blizzard, and now they fixed it. And that included that baseline vulnerable. I literally have no spreadsheet. It's like so annoying. I will show you after this. Like I literally have all the stuff exactly in the spreadsheet. Yeah, I don't even know what glinting firebolt is. Yeah, correct. I would actually have to redo it again after the patch. But you know, I don't have to redo all the testing because, you know, it was still important to test the interactions between vulnerable damage and stuff like that. So you really just have to retest the raw damage numbers, which doesn't really take a long time. But I feel like it's already out, honestly. Like, I feel like my damage is, like, above the clouds right now. No. I think they got it from, like, Reddit. But I don't know. It's also like, you know, everybody said, like, all the other classes were not bugged. And I was like, it is definitely bugged, but, you know. Yeah, that's correct, basically. But I don't see a reason why that would change. Because if there was no interaction in the first place, why would they bug some interactions in? Yeah, correct. That's. I'm gonna show you the spreadsheet. Like, I literally recorded it today. So that vulnerable damage was doing half. That was. I have like 15 videos on my hard disk where I say, yeah, it looks like it's just doing half for most of the stuff. It's like super weird. But yeah, obviously I only tested it on bosses. Because, you know, testing on non-bosses is like big pain. I'm gonna show you after this. I really literally did it all day. Right. I already... so basically nothing because I already changed the build back to the unfixed nodes because I was like, you know what, 15% is better than 0%. I think the hotfix is already live. Like, these bosses are melting. Like, these are dying so fast. So I'm gonna show you my Excel here. 1 second. So let me switch to what is this? So this is basically the spreadsheet I made today, right? Look at all these tabs here. So I have Ice Spike's base damage, right? So I literally made everything with like 200 data points. So Ice Spike's base damage 6.1k, right? And then vulnerable 6.6. So that's literally your 10% there, right? So I literally verified that today, that there was just 10%. Then this was vulnerable with vulnerable gear, basically. So same number, 10% more. Then I have Frigit Fate, you know, 15% goes up for like, you know, what is this? I don't even know. Frigid Fate, 30% is 7.7 above 6.6, so like roughly 15%. You know, then I have all cold damage. So I literally like, I did like test everything today, like literally every single node here. And now they just, so it, like, for example, like Stormswell, right? 7.6. So then you have Shredding Blade, 7.7. And then I verified with Conceited and Inner Calm, those were working, so really stupid. So yeah, lots of work for literally nothing. It's like extremely stupid. You don't have to temper off vulnerable, honestly. It still works just fine. So there's no interaction between vulnerable. So vulnerable is just fine. It's just gonna give you the damage. So there's no reason to remove vulnerable from your items. There's really just damage to close will be slightly better if you're like going for boss fights, but vulnerable is still like absolutely fine on your items. Like there's absolutely no reason to risk your items removing that. Basically all the additive damages are exactly the same, so it literally doesn't matter which one you have. It's just the uptime of the additive damage. So damage to distant, technically, damage to distant is the best, but you cannot enforce damage to distant on bosses. Right, damage to distant rolls the highest by far, except for Ice Spike damage if you play Blizzard. But you cannot enforce distant on bosses, so damage to close basically becomes the best. Well, I don't care, honestly. It's just a huge waste of time. Like, I really didn't expect them to fix this, because literally, like yesterday, they wrote, like, on Reddit, like, we checked it, we checked it, we checked it. There is no bugs. Right? So that's why... That's the, like, stupid part of that, right? They could have just admitted, oh yeah, there seems to be bugs, we're fixing it. Because, you know, there's no way they... you know, just noticed that today and have patch notes out fixing this. They have been knowing this for a long time that it's wrong. And they literally wrote, there's no problems, right? But there's no way they fixed that today. Like, literally, they have been working on that for longer. And that's like a very annoying misinformation there, I feel like. Ice Spike does work on bosses for sure. Because they also said, like, they looked into it, like, twice, right? And they literally must have known at that point. Like, there's no way they didn't know. But I feel it's already active, honestly. Like, I just did, like, significantly more boss damage. Nice, getting in a boss fight without Flame Shield. See, like, this is the 85 now. This is, like, melting. And this is, like, Slither. It has double HP. Yeah, I don't want to know their code. It's probably all like Microsoft programmers by now, just outsourced to like an Indian coding center. Probably not even real programmers anymore. So the best would be damage to close. Or if you have an extremely high crit chance, like 80%, then it would be, oh, nice wand. Then it would be critical strike damage, but critical strike damage you will need a rogue anyway. Alright, let's see. So we're gonna do the crazy whatever, pity mechanic. I feel like it's not working, but I have to... Oh, let's... So I'm literally like every wand with greater FX intelligence, right? I'm like going nuts on those. Like I'm so happy whenever I find one of those. Because I'm bricking these like left and right. Like literally I keep bricking those. It's so hard to get a good one. The last good one I had was a frozen orb roll. I bricked with the second roll. So let's go with this one here. I don't even like dream for 2 greater affixes. Like literally, that's not gonna happen. But look at that, min roll, like always. So I have been trying to get a stupid good roll on this for like, I literally don't get it. It's like so difficult. I literally only get min rolls. Like whatever I try, I always get min roll. Right. No clue if this pity mechanics thing is working or not. Like literally, I'm just doing it because it's for free. Look at this, min roll. Like literally it's a curse. Like I brick 10 of these stuffs in a row and I'm literally, I only get min rolls. I haven't seen a single good frozen orb roll in like forever. I mean, I always see them when I do like this, you know, this whatever supposed to be like, look, if I do this supposed to be working pity mechanic, I at least get a medium roll. They say like 3 would be a good spot. But you know, I honestly have no clue if that's actually gonna do anything at all. So I guess, you know, it's probably just a waste of materials. But I haven't seen like any data sets on this, honestly. Oh, look at this, 15%. That's mid-roll. Not even a good mid-roll, but I'm gonna keep this for now. So let's do the other one here. Like, I'm already settling for... Like, you really need max roll on those stats. That's the thing, right? They are so important. Like, this one here, you need, like, one of these. Should I just keep this? You know, it's probably just bullshit, but, you know... The thing is, it really doesn't cost anything, so... If you get better odds, you might just do it, right? Look at this, 14%, like always. I really have been trying to get a good roll on a wand forever. Look at this, 15.5. So I literally have 1 temper left to get damage to close. Alright, let's go. Like, the odds are, like, not even there. Let's go, damage too close. And bricked. So how about this one? Let's go for damage too close here. Look at this, damage to crowd controlled. Damage to crowd controlled. Damage to distant. Wonderful, and bricked. So that's how it goes through these wands, right? Like, literally, the odds of getting a wand is, like, so terrible. So really, that's the problem I have with this mechanic, right? Just stop doing this stupid random tempering. It takes such a long time to even finish these items. I feel like it's just too much. Yeah, damage too close is the best one. And also the process is super annoying, right? The whole re-rolling and stuff like that. I don't really like that. They should just, you know, make me choose the tempering recipe and call it a day. Because if you need tempering with a good roll even, right? It is just mind-blowing out, like, how small the odds are for that. And then, or just make the tempering recipes even, right? not just give me like 5 on... I think natural like damage or whatever is just... It's 5 different ones. Right, so the odds of like hitting 1 of 5 is like already so low. While other ones just have like 3. Yeah, I'm pretty sure the seasonal luck is better. I just want to try tier 90 and see if the hotfix is active or not. I mean, this also goes fairly quickly. Yeah, I mean, the Shadow is not good for Frozen Orb, because the extra Frozen Orb cast can actually spawn Conjurations. So it's just gonna be way stronger going for the extra Frozen Orbs. But it's definitely less RNG because you don't care about the roll there. And I guess it's 2 out of 6, right? So it's better odds in general. So the conjurations from the extra projectiles actually do work with everything. So it's really like a second cast. I yet have to try this with an unstable currents build. Because... I mean, they even trigger Frozen Orb enchantments. And I figure, like, I haven't seen a real Ball Lightning build yet. But Ball Lightning you can get, like, crazy high attack speed. I think Ball Lightning you can like 6 or 7 frames. So it's crazy. You can cast like 7 or 8 Ball Lightnings a second, I think. And if you double cast them and they also proc unstable currents, you could actually get a crazy amount of lightning spears out. So that's also one thing I would like to test. How crazy that gets basically with Ball Lightning. Well, I guess... So you always want to go crit chance over additive damage, basically. Tier 132? Wasn't it tier 120? But he's just playing like the regular Firebolt build, right? Or is it like a new build? I mean, 132 is pretty crazy, actually. I mean, Firebolt is pretty strong, right? I mean, if they fix the immortalities thing, obviously those builds are instantly gonna be out. But you know, that's all we have, right? We just have our immortality. Yeah, I mean, Raymond is super strong. Just gives you, like, so much extra damage. I hate that. I should, like, pay attention before I go into the boss fights. Because if you go into boss fight without Flame Shield and you just eat, like, one of those clones, you're just gonna die. Wait, what? Frozen Orbit is... The problem is you have to play Frozen Orbit in the first place, right? It's like... They should just include Frozen Orbit in the Frozen Orb automatically. I guess then it would be pretty balanced if we could get an extra additive, like an extra aspect there. It's so annoying, like I really can't deal with this shit anymore. No. It doesn't really matter because I am playing in Arkham, which also gives me 30%. So I won't test that right now. But I'm gonna upgrade this stuff now and then gonna push this, because I'm not gonna get any more cooldown reduction here anyway. I'm just gonna go for the terrible one. I mean, realistically, the only thing you can do is play Firebolt, really. So the damage reduction really doesn't do a whole lot for you in high tiers. Like, if you're playing lower tiers, damage reduction is fine. But in higher tiers, it doesn't save you from anything. You basically have to get more like 150% damage reduction used to be the cap back in the days. Like the damage reduction from while injured builds, right? Those were basically Immortal with Barrier. They had like 180 to plus % damage reduction. And that was kind of, you know, because you have to see a damage reduction has like crazy diminishing returns, right? So every damage reduction basically multiplies again, so it gets less and less. If you already have 100% damage reduction, and then you get another 10, that basically just means, you know, you get 1, right? So it's all multiplying. So if you have 85 damage reduction, for real, you just have like 40% or something like that. So you really have to get like above 150% to really make damage reduction work. Otherwise, you know, if you're still gonna take 50% of the damage, and that's just gonna one-shot you. That was like the issue with the damage reduction, basically. And that I feel like they should also fix that. They should just make damage reduction additive and fix it at, and cap it at 85%. Because then every class can just comfortably get the same amount of damage reduction. Because you gotta see it like this, right? Barb can reach like 250k HP, right? So Barb doesn't need a whole lot of damage reduction because he has crazy effective hit points. Like Sork, you can really get like your barrier, and, you know, probably damage reduction doesn't even work on your barrier. Who knows, right? I don't think it works, honestly. Yeah, so if you can get 250k effective, like if you can get 250k HP and 100% damage reduction, which comes down to like whatever, 50%, right? You would be at like 500k HP technically. And that's like 10 times more than Sork can ever reach. Because Sork cannot get that hit points, right? Same with Rogues. Rogue have extra weapons, so the whole new system basically strengthens like these classes like extremely, because you can get those high hit points rolls on your weapons. So maybe they should just give Sork like a second weapon slot as well. Just give me a stuff like and a wand and a focus. Like, there's so much stuff you could do, but yeah, it's a horrible bad game design. It's not really funny at all. Like, I don't want to like be one-shot by everything. It's just I would rather like to build defensive, do less damage, but be able to survive. But I simply don't have the option. I mean, I can build defensive and farm tier 80s, but what's the point, right? Like, if I want to push, I am forced to get like one of these Immortal builds. There's literally no other option for me. And this Immortal build here needs like a crazy amount of cooldown reduction, which I'm just missing, and it's like totally annoying. And I don't even know why I'm missing it. Because sometimes it works, but sometimes, like, if you're in the flow, like right now, I'm like, everything is stacked up, right? So I have no problem. The problem is always like at the very start, where you don't have the conjuration, the cooldown reduction. Once you like have like all your stuff built up, it usually is not an issue anymore. Yeah, like Path of Exile, like all the classes basically in Path of Exile have like huge damage reduction stuff, right? And actually, let me try to. I want to do this focus now. I'm getting frustrated. I want to push, but I have one focus with cooldown reduction. This one here. Do we have another one? I don't think so. I mean, I already have to settle for stuff with just one greater affix because I just don't have access. So in the end, I guess it was a mistake starting on Eternal, but I really didn't foresee that there would be literally no trading. I would have assumed that way more people will not play Season, but you know, it isn't like it is. So, yeah, let me brick this one, right? So, same story. Let me get focus. I have 0 DR right now. Like, literally, I removed everything because I want to push and it's not going to help me. So, oh, that was my 15.5. I would have already taken this. Okay, let's do one more. So, let's go. Brick focus. Max roll. Look at this, blizzard size. Let's go. Oh, look at this, frostbolt. Oh, look at this, more frostbolt. Oh, look at this, even more frostbolt. Oh, look at this. There you go, not even a single one, dude. Not even a single one and already bricked. That's just me, like, tempering. Or masterworking, whatever that shit is called. Bye-bye, focus. That literally, like, that's what always happens. And I have had that happen, like, so many times. Like, literally, I have so many items bricked like this. It is, and that's, I just don't like this mechanic. It's too much RNG. So this is, if this patch, it's not a client patch. Because the damage is calculated on the server, so if this is a rolling hotfix, you don't even have to install a patch for that. I mean, it doesn't make any sense that you would have to install it, but I will try. But I feel like it's already active, honestly. I just used the pity mechanic. So there was like 13 tries in a row, right? Not even hitting it once. Yeah, I don't know, like, if this pity mechanic is really a thing or not. Nah, I mean, I'm using this all the time. And I'm literally bricking my items left and right. Yeah, stuff is still the best for, like, mid-game, not very high pushing. I mean, you know, Wanton Focus becomes better at some point. But if you're, like, still starting, like, stuff is, like, way easier to start with. Also, like, you're gonna brick way less items master working. You have to, like, put it like this. It's... I mean, if you see, like, I'm bricking, like, my Wanton Focus all the time. And you really need a high roll on the extra Frozen Orb casts. Like, in the end. But if you want to play this Immortal version, that only works with Wanton Focus. But if you don't want to play Immortal, I would probably still always recommend to go for the stuff. Because really, I only need Wanton Focus for the cooldown reduction. I basically changed the board, not back to the old version, but I put Icefall back in. And when I'm pushing, I want to also put Charged in. But I need more cooldown reduction for that. Unfortunately, I just bricked my only cooldown reduction focus. I'm gonna do it anyway. No, it was just an easy boss, right? It was like the Scourge of the Land, right? So Scourge of the Land is a pretty easy boss. There's bosses which have double HP. And there's bosses which disappear from the arena and stuff like that. But Scourge of the Land is basically the jackpot boss. The easiest 200 boss? I mean, if you want to go Shaco, you know, the odds are like the highest on Duriel and Andariel. Because the other ones are not going to have a 10% drop chance on Shaco. The other ones are just going to have like 1% or something like that. Or 3% maybe, I don't even know. But the Shaco, you still have to go for Uber Duriel. Which is not difficult, honestly. That's pretty easy. Yeah, Spirit Caller of Frost is also... I think that has even less HP than Scourge of the Land. But I guess, you know, at that level you have to fish anyway. Because, you know, the double HP bosses you just cannot play. I mean, the other Uber... I think they have 3% or something like that. And the Uber Duriel have like 10. So yeah, I'm still gonna try push with this. I just gotta bite through, I guess. I want to try to get the charge glyph though, and I will see if I need to install this hotfix. Why would he? Oh, did he play with holy bolts? I guess if you play with holy bolts, you just gotta fish for ad bosses. That's the way to do it. But that doesn't really count, right? I think you cannot even post that on the leaderboards. Because there wouldn't be any other mechanic where destroying ads would give you more damage other than Holy Bolt's elixir. I mean, if you at least get chances of getting... I mean, the boss is super easy, right? So all you gotta do is, whenever he does like his blade attack, you just gotta press Flame Shield. And the rest of the fight, you can just face tank it. Like, the boss literally does no damage. So you really just gotta dodge this one-shot mechanic, which is super easy to spot. And obviously, like, the yellow beam, but, you know, that's even more easy to dodge. And you can find the Winter Glass, obviously, so that's like another advantage. But if you're looking for Uber Uniques, that's not going to be the best one. I'm going to check for this hotfix real quick after this. But, you know, it doesn't make sense that it has to be downloaded, actually. Because all the damage numbers are calculated on the server and not on the client. The damage numbers would be calculated on the client, like you could just hack infinite damage without any problems, right? So it doesn't really make any sense that you would need a client update for that hotfix. But with Blizzard, you never know. The timing is just too close on my flame shield, like really. I mean, I have another pants I'm rolling. But I don't know if it goes to +5. Does anybody know if a +3 skill on pants goes to +5 without critting it? Yeah, there shouldn't be a download. That's what I say. Like, that should be a server-side hotfix. So I still have these pants. Where are they? I know it's a chess piece. This one here, but I don't know if it goes to I don't know if it goes to +5. If I go on max roll planner, there's pretty good, right? Will that max roll planner tell me if it goes to +5? It's just gonna make one real quick here. Right, let's make sorcerer. Let's get a ring mail. Let's put on flame shield. +3. Let's masterwork it to 12 out of 12. Okay, it stays at +4. So you gotta crit it once, so it goes to +5. That's pretty annoying. So, I mean, the thing is, right, I can work on this one here while I'm wearing this one. But I really want to have a double flame shield. And this one has greater FX intelligence, so... But I have to keep reworking this, obviously. So I have to basically hit flame shield once, and so I have to hit both flame shields, essentially, to basically replace this one here. But I didn't know if it would go to... But I guess I can reset it, right? Oh, wait, whoa. Wrong one. That was close. This one here, right? Oh, it costs 50 of these to reset it even? Oh no, it doesn't. I can at least do a couple of tries on this. Oh, look, there's the first one. Okay, that was it. Yeah, that one shot, that is like this blade attack. Like he basically, you know, gets like he makes like he's hugging you. Like he gets his blades like, you know, all spread out to his back, and then after that you basically just have to push flame shield. Yeah, 50%, pretty annoying. But still, you know, if you have a second item which you can roll on while you're wearing the other one, that's actually, you know, pretty good. Because, you know, if I would hit Flame Shield, so Flame Shield duration twice, and Flame Shield levels once, that would also fix my problem there. But I saw they had more materials. But I'm gonna see how far I can get with this imperfect one here. I don't think they're gonna remove Flame Shield duration. My honest opinion is they're gonna nerf Hectic. Like, if they... So there's one thing they're gonna do. Either they're gonna change Flame Shield, so the cooldown starts when Flame Shield is over. That basically, you know, then... Probably gonna stop even playing Sorc then. Because then literally they take any defensive layer you have. Because if the Flame Shield cooldown will be like 10 seconds, then you cannot even play Sorc, right? They're either gonna do that, or they're gonna nerf Hectic, probably. I don't think they're gonna nerf the interaction with the Ice Blades there. Lightning Storm? You mean Lightning Spear? Technically, Lightning Spear is one more conjuration, yeah. But, like, you need Teleport. And also, like, for the endgame build, you need Crackling Energy, because you want to switch to Charge Glyph for an extra 15% multiplier. And you basically need Teleport to create those. So you could put it instead of Hydra, but Hydra is basically 2. And Lightning Spear just has, like, a very long cooldown, I feel like. I feel like Lightning Spear cooldown should natively be just half of it. I don't get why Lightning Spear has such a long cooldown. Hectic is that aspect whenever you cast a basic skill, no, whenever you cast 5 basic skills, basically gonna remove 2 seconds of cooldown from a random skill. So that's how the Firebolt build basically reach immortality. But anyway, I'm gonna finish this weapon and then I'm gonna push. Like, I cannot deal with upgrading these items anymore. I gotta deal with it. It usually works alright with bosses unless you catch one which disappears from the arena, but you're not gonna beat that anyway. So I need 125 more. I already changed my build back, so... But, you know, it's gotta be tested first. So you could probably get Storm Swell instead of Inner Calm, which gives you more clear speed during the dungeon phase. Because right now I'm playing Inner Calm. So you need to stand still for 3 seconds until the damage bonus comes in. But that's really the only change I would immediately have to do. Yeah, I already updated that build to put Frigit Fate back in, but my build never took Frigit Fate out though. I always had Frigit Fate in. I just took Icefall out, and now I have Icefall back in basically. Yeah, the Blizzard build, I removed it. That's true because, but that's, yeah, it's gonna go back in. But I have to redo the board for the Blizzard build because there's gonna be some changes. No, the Blizzard build I haven't updated yet. No, if Frigid Fate is fixed, it's perfect. Like 30% a bonus is like awesome. Like you cannot wish more for like it literally costs 8 Paragon nodes to reach a 30% multiplier, so that's like an extremely strong node. Even with 15% it's alright. That's why I have it in the build right now. Right, 15% is still, for 8 Paragon points, 15% is really, really good. What? I didn't even see that. Should press Flame Shield earlier. I play like super sloppy here. It's like terrible. At least I can re-drink this. I'm also not sure if I like the variant with the Concussive Strikes aspect more than the lucky hit one. You see, I'm still like my cooldown reduction on Flame Shield is just not good enough. I would probably have to switch even into Ace's Ferocity, but I'm still gonna go for my chances. I only need to like push like 5 levels. Actually, not so much there. I will also see if the hotfix is out when I push. Like, I will directly notice. Because I will probably get like 2 or 3 tiers higher. If I can beat a boss, obviously. No, I feel like the fix is out already, but you know, I cannot confirm that. I have to wait for the bigger bosses there. Guess that's the last upgrade I need. I could upgrade my Asus boots, but really what's gonna do? It's probably just gonna give me like more mana cost reduction I don't need. I'm gonna try without charge glyph for the beginning though. That poison hurts. Wait, this way. So, unstable current spawns lightning spears whenever you cast a spell. And if you temper on your weapon, chance to cast double ball lightnings, like an extra projectile, right? Then it actually spawns, like, it counts for a double unstable currents also. So most likely it does, because it also, like, procs Frozen Orb enchantment here, for example. Come on, this spark is, like, so broken. So in the end, why am I spawning here? In the end, you know, you can probably cast like 10 ball lightnings a second or something like that. And with Conjuration Mastery, that's gonna give you like a crazy amount of lightning spears. So that's supposedly really, really strong. I mean, I don't know if it like... Because you also probably need to get permanent Flame Shield, right? But you can do this with the Ice Blades enchant as well. I don't see why Ball Lightning wouldn't need permanent Flame Shield in high tiers, like you literally have no survivability. I mean, you could try life on hit with a lot of life. Would maybe get you to like tier 100. I think life on hit on Ball Lightning could actually scale quite well. Well, there's the aspect for Unstable Currents, which spawns extra. That one also works with that. But the other interaction is really just the tempering on the weapons to get an extra projectile there. Like Sharpshooter is the best boss on like the mid levels. Literally has no HP. Is the chest opening automatically, by the way? I think they patched that in, like it's a ninja patch. Okay, do I have enough materials now? I think I have. No, I think I'm missing one run.
See some steel you need?
Yeah, one run. I'm upgrading like this terrible weapon because I literally cannot do anything else. I cannot tell you. I will tell you when I'm pushing. But I would have to go to the dummy and, you know, record and stuff like that, so... I don't think they fixed it. I mean, it probably has nothing to do with the same mechanic, right? No, Fractured Winter Glass has nothing to do with unstable currents. Basically, if you, so let's say you play the unstable currents aspect on your amulet, right? And it gives you 45% extra cast. And then let's say you cast 10 ball lightnings a second, right? So that would be 15 unstable currents procs a second. The chance of getting a lightning spear is 1 in 4, right? So technically you will get 3.25 lightning spears a second. So that would be over the lifespan of a lightning spear. What is that? 30? You could probably get up to like 30 lightning spears. Which is, with Conjuration Mastery 6, 180% damage increase. So that's actually crazy. I don't know if it scales actually that high. Like the 10 ball lightnings a second is an estimate for now. Maybe you can only reach like 6 or 7. But you can definitely reach like a very high number of ball lightnings per second cast. So that might be like pretty good interaction there. And then if you really like would build this with survivability and life on it, I think you could get a crazy amount of hits from the life on it stat. Depends on how much life on it you want to stack, obviously, because it's pretty expensive. Get that. You could also go Andariels with life leech, obviously. But, you know, I really think that's going to be a thing, though. Maybe for lower levels, but I think in high tiers you will still gonna get one shot, so you would probably still have to play Ice Blades and Flame Shield Duration. Even though Lightning has a relatively good damage reduction, right? You get like 45% damage reduction from skill tree from the Lightning spells. Then you would have another like 21 from Mana Shield. So you get like a good amount of damage reduction actually in lightning builds. Of course she spawned the guy like right in that moment. I think that hotfix is out. Like I'm doing like crazy amounts of damage, I feel like. I don't know the actual pit scaling, but it's probably +5, I would say. Right, let's go for Frozen Orb. Ah. Oh, shit. With this build, no. I mean, there's variants of this build where you can play it. Alright, so let's go for this. We're ready. Ready to do this. Tier 106, let's go. Oh wow, these guys are melting. That hotfix is definitely out. These would take so long. I mean, these still take quite a bit of time, obviously, but... You know, my gear is not the best there. But yeah, that fixes out 100%. Did it just get damaged through my flame shield? I could swear like that damage hit me through my flame shield. This dungeon is terrible, like I'm getting like so little progression here. Kill some of these. Like the vampires are so horrible because they are like flying away all the time, and the strategy usually is you just, you know, you get stuff unstoppable and have it follow you, and you know, go to the next pack. But the vampires are like completely stupid because they keep flying away. The snakes will follow you just fine. But I'm not very, like, I don't have so much, you know, training with the whole pulling story in this here. I haven't really pushed very high pits yet. So I really don't know yet when to move and when to fight. And when these mobs are actually going to evade. I'm not, like, very good with that yet, I have to say. Because at some point they're going to stop following you. And I don't really know how far I can go at this point yet. What? God damn it, that was stupid. I had my flame shield, I just looked... Oh, come on. I just looked the other way. I mean, I'm still gonna have enough time for the boss, you know, problem. If I don't fail anymore. Wow. This dungeon phase is really rough with this build. I really just need like a little bit of extra cooldown reduction or flame shield duration, and then everything is gonna be completely easy. See, for example, those two mobs there in the back I had to kill. So those evaded, right? So I pulled them too far and they went back. So yeah, I mean, you also need to get like a decent dungeon layout. Like, this is like absolutely horrible, obviously. I don't know what shrine that is. Protection? Okay, I don't care. I don't need that for the boss. I don't know, I didn't test Storm Swell and Shredding Blades yet. I'm sticking with what I have for now. I would never trust a Blizzard employee saying something is fixed. Right, let's go boss. Oh god, that's not a good boss. But yeah, that hotfix is out. Oh, I hate this boss disappearing. But that's like an issue with the bosses which are disappearing, right? As you can see. Because your flame shields are not hitting. And then you're getting out of the perma. And you gotta like kind of, you know, get back into it. Which is basically you need to fish for like an elemental attunement proc. Until you're like back in. See, and now the boss is back. And I don't get cooldown, so I basically have to like, you know, run around the dungeon and try to do this. And then I have to kind of get back into the flow, right? And now, again, that's like a huge issue with the bosses which are disappearing. And if you play the Firebolt, like it's literally not a problem. But with this, it's a huge issue. So I'm probably not going to beat this one here. Like, there's literally 2 of the bosses which I cannot kill because my build is just not made for these ones here. It's like super annoying, but you know that it is what it is. I mean, I could, but I have to. Well, basically you have to, whenever the boss disappears, you have to like completely evade and, you know, get like a fresh start, but you know, it's still like not very cool. So yeah, let's do another one. No, vulnerable damage is not greatest. It doesn't really matter. Damage to close is probably the best one you can get. This is a better dungeon. It would be so much easier if I just had like this tiny more bit of cooldown reduction. It's like really such a huge difference. But it's gonna be like so many materials to retemper something. Or remaster work. Wait, where are my bosses? My elites are not coming. Why are they not following me? I was literally like next to them. That's like super annoying. Takes forever to kill these. Oh, nice portal. See, this is, if you get it like this is very nice, right? If you can, you know, get all the elites grouped up and just kill them real quick. But if you don't get them grouped up, so you have to kill them all one by one. Oh god, that's the soul shot. Then it's like really annoying. So it really depends a little bit on the map and the monsters. So you usually just fight them until they become unstoppable. Then you move on. Like this and try to find the next pack. No, we have permanent barrier. Barrier duration is not really needed. Barrier duration does not increase flame shield duration. See, there's the annoying mobs again, which just go away. Where's the... Ah, there. Oh, I have been here before. What's the correct way? Okay. That's annoying. This should be enough for boss, right? Yeah. Right. Are you sure? Because it spawns 2 conjurations if you have winter. Oh god. Oh, I hate this boss. Oh, every time the same with this goddamn boss. Every time the same. Every time the same with this goddamn boss. Just pukes me right into the face. But see, the flame shield timing is like so low, so it's really not comfortable to play. It would be really so much more relaxed if I just had like a split second more there. Like not even half a second, like 0.2 seconds would already be sufficient. Because sometimes you just have latency casting that thing. But yeah, I don't... Honestly, the hotfix might not be out. Not sure, but this takes a long time. I don't know how much HP this boss has, if it has more or not. At least it's staying in the arena. Alright. Just one tier? I don't know. I mean, it still felt like... It didn't feel like 50% faster. Let me just put it like this. Right, let's go next. Let's see if we can go to 110. Yeah, I mean, it's the damage is just not there, right? I mean, I can get 15% more from Charge Glyph. But I will also lose damage from Enchanter if I play that. So I don't know how much it's gonna be actually. I've been like, you know, thinking about that. Because you also have to like teleport once every like 4 seconds. Which technically costs you a Frozen Orb or even 2. So I don't even know if that's gonna be beneficial, honestly. I wish I could get the Crackling Energy without teleporting. Because I really don't want to teleport and not cast Frozen Orbs. I don't even know if it's smart to kill the non-elites or not. I really didn't spend any research which packs are most beneficial here. Are the other ones coming? I feel like I missed some. Let's go back and check. Yeah, I knew it. That was a bad decision. So yeah, I really gotta figure out the pull timing here. When to move and when to fight. And this tier is not such a huge deal because I will have enough time for the boss regardless. No, I'm not using shadow damage. I'm using more Frozen Orbs right now. But my weapons are terrible. I actually have, I mean, I have okay gear. But it's like really, really far away from being good. Like I literally, some items I don't even have greater affix on. And I have pretty bad roads on my Frozen Orbs actually. And I didn't even see that. Ugh, come on. Like I don't like these monsters here. Should have just gone into the portal, I guess, right? That would have been smart. Should have just killed these. They have like no HP. But yeah, like these mobs are like so annoying because, you know, they just spread out and you cannot AoE them down properly. They don't follow you and stuff like that, so it's like Terrible, terrible monsters. So at some point you would switch your key passive to Shatter. So I don't know if it's already time for that. Because if you switch your key passive to Shatter, you're basically gonna get through this like twice as fast, literally. But I don't know if it's like it's there's gonna be a certain point where you do that. Was just like in AOZ basically at some point you would just switch. There are elites in that room. I wonder if these non-elites give... I think they give good progression, actually. This time I'm like super slow. That's also like another like big advantage of the Firebolt variant. You can play Raiment of the Infinite, right? And grouping those mobs like really helps a lot. The stagger just comes from the lucky hit effects on your armor, and in general, like Frozen Orb does like a quite good amount of stagger. Like it chills. Ah, come on. That was it. So yeah, so I'm really not gonna do any more upgrades to this build because, you know, getting the last cooldown reduction I need will be so freaking expensive. And I really don't want to go on with this, even though, you know, I could probably do that. It's just such a mind-numbing process, really. Like, I basically have to get greater epics cooldown reduction focus or re-roll my focus, but that's gonna be like such a pain in the ass, honestly. Oh god, sparking. I have to spawn this boss now. I'm not gonna survive this. Can I see what that is? No. Oh god. I don't think I can beat that. That has twice the HP than the other ones. And it's like so unforgiving. You basically cannot be like mortal for like even a split second. You're gonna be instantly dead. We're gonna try though. Oh, that was close. Yeah. That boss basically instantly kills you if you have like the littlest downtime ever. Ah, yeah, this is like... So that's like the second thing, right? You gotta get a boss. So... that's why also I hate like this kind of thing. So I really want to just push this to 110. Then I'm gonna be good. Good decision. What? I had Flame Shield up. Huh? I literally just got killed through Flame Shield. That is like so weird. I had like 2 seconds left on Flame Shield. What the hell? Just gotta get a good boss. My damage is like freaking low. Cannot even do anything about it. So yeah, there's basically like 3 bosses which I can't kill. Hive Master, because I don't have the cooldown reduction. That Sharpshooter, because I cannot get Immortality. And that, well, the other one I can probably kill, like the other one which is jumping out of the arena. But it's annoying. This also doesn't look like the best place to be in. Like, wallers are pretty annoying. Endless Rage stuff is basically just removing 200% of your damage. Just terrible. And Tarasha Ring is really just about the attack speed. And you cannot get the 4 stack basically because you gotta get the extra fireball casts on your weapon. And you don't need the cooldown reduction, so there's like not so many reasons for Tarasha really in that build. See, that's like the delay on the flame shield there. So that's really like, it's not really enjoyable playing this build at all, I have to say, at this level, because it's like just so unforgiving. And you really need like such a high amount of cooldown reduction and flame shield duration. And then even like, it's still like doing like so little damage on this tier. So it's definitely not my favorite build here. But also this kind of content is not my favorite content, I have to say. Like, I like content where I can scale my damage. And where I have to, you know, kind of build survivability. But in this content there's like so much RNG, like the bosses, the monster types. Like you get these ones here which are just constantly running away, which is like extremely annoying. It's like not really my favorite stuff, I have to say. Then you have to basically fish for a good boss to even clear it. If you get a bad boss, you can just restart and did like the whole 15 minutes stuff here for nothing. You get a Waller and your Ice Blades can't hit and reset your Flame Shield cooldown. Like, there's so much RNG stuff going on. A little bit is good. I mean, if you have like if you have greater FX cooldown reduction stuff, you know, it's easy because you can just stand still. But I always have to basically teleport out for the last 0.2 seconds of my flame shield and stuff like that, so that makes it just makes it doesn't feel really good, I have to say. Right, so I cannot risk stay in there for my flame shield because I'm gonna instantly die if I don't have it. So usually I just teleport out, which makes it like so much weaker. You can have 4 Hydras instead of 2 if you put it on your bar. Oh god, Sharpshooter. Again, so I can probably already restart. I mean, this has less HP, so I can try, but I'm probably not gonna beat it. Yeah, I'm not even gonna try it. So that's what this makes this build extremely weak, is you just, there's like 3 bosses you can't deal with. And that's just not fun, like, doing the whole pushing, you know, going through everything, and then, you know, being stuck on a boss you can't kill. It's like, doesn't feel good at all. I'm gonna try Shatter now, though. I don't think the Sorg fixes out. Not sure, though. I didn't really feel any major damage increase. Probably, maybe it doesn't even work. I mean, I felt it before, but on the tier 106, I didn't really feel it at all. I mean, it would feel much better if I had the proper cooldown reduction. I think I need like 3% more, or I need 1 more Flame Shield duration roll there, basically. It's hard to tell, but, you know, in the end, I basically need a focus with greater FX cooldown reduction. Or I need to reroll my current focus. And it's gonna cost so many materials. I have like 43%. Of course, can have 2 Hydras instead of 1 Lightning Spear. And Hydras last longer. Lightning Spear only has like half uptime or something like that. Yeah, the build is up to date. The only thing I just changed basically is Shatter, but I'm not even sure if that's gonna be good. Because half of the time these are unstoppable, it seems like. I guess for Shatter you need crowd control duration. Just gonna miss like 15% boss damage. I mean, even though these die significantly faster, I'm probably gonna have issues with the boss. But the good thing is, if I get to the boss faster, I don't have to play so long before I have to reset because I cannot kill the boss. I mean, Shatter is super strong, but not with this, because I don't have Raiment of the Infinite. So if you have Raiment, obviously it becomes significantly stronger. I don't think that... I actually cannot tell you if this patch is live yet or not. So far I haven't noticed a huge difference. But it's also like, you know, I'm like 1 tier higher. I don't know how much more HP that equals. So it could be up, it could be not up. You know, you basically just have to test it. You cannot really test it by just a feeling. Wow. Just a split second. Again, this is like... That is the biggest problem I have with this. I'm simply not having enough cooldown reduction yet. So I keep dying. Randomly. I don't think Shatter is gonna do very good for me, honestly. I will feel this at the boss. And again, like the elites are running away. So annoying. And basically, right, I'm playing Inner Calm right now, so every time I have to disengage to not die and put Flame Shield on, I'm losing 30% damage for 3 seconds. So it's really a huge deal for me. So obviously the hotfix will help. I can switch that aspect off. No, it doesn't have anything to do with your vulnerable damage. The vulnerable damage stat is completely irrelevant. It's just working like any other additive damage. Oh god. Oh, this boss. Can I just have an easy boss? Like, this boss is also extremely annoying. Because it keeps running backwards. So you have to, like, push behind him with teleport all the goddamn time. Every teleport essentially costs you a frozen orb. Wonder if he stops moving at this wall. Also, my frozen orbs might not do damage though. I think he stops moving. It's gonna take a while. Oh wow. At least he stopped moving. This is like a big W for me. But this is like really, really boring, I have to say. And I might still die if my Flame Shield cooldown just doesn't work out like one single time. Yeah. So, again, like, it is so pointless just even continuing this. Because, you know, you just can't do anything about it. You know, sometimes, for whatever random reason, your Ice Blade's not gonna reset fast enough, and then you're gonna be like, exactly that split second, like, it's exactly that split second where the boss is just gonna kill you. And then there's those bosses which basically instantly kill you. And so the only way around it is really for me to just get more cooldown reduction or more flame shield duration. Because otherwise this is going to keep happening. And I simply don't have the materials. I mean, I don't have the base items, basically. I have one item which I can still improve on, though. Which is, where is it? This one here. Yeah, they cap at 199. Wow, I have like so little. See, maybe I can get a luck shot on this one here. Nope. Yeah, can't even afford it. They're like just like so. I don't think the hotfix is out. So I have what is it? I have 43.9 cooldown reduction, and I have 5.07 seconds flame shield. So really, I'm like, you know, I would really have to get like another 2 or 3% cooldown reduction, or I would have to, you know, get one better, even one extra roll of flame shield duration. Like, one of those would probably fix it for me. But yeah, you need to have bows, man. You need to have +5 and flame shield duration. So this chest will go to +5 if you hit flame shield once. So basically this one, right? You would have to temper 3 perfect affixes. So it's like next to impossible to even get this. I'm just tempering this because it has greater affix intelligence, really. I'm gonna switch this back. And yeah, so, I mean, you can get, obviously, a better amulet, but also you need 3, like, if you want to hit 2 times cooldown reduction, 1 time conjuration mask, like, that's next to impossible to get, right? That's not an achievable goal. Like, technically, an achievable goal is only hitting something twice. Everything else is random, right? So you can hit cooldown reduction twice, that's the only thing possible. Getting, like, a perfect roll is not even possible. Like, getting plus flame shield 2 times and plus defensive shield 1 times, it's really just, it is like so impossible. Like, it's something you cannot make a build which requires that kind of itemization, because, you know, chances are high you're never gonna get there. because the odds to get an item hitting 3 specific stats at 12 out of 12, it is so expensive, and even the odds, that's gonna take like probably 10 days of farming straight. So that is really like mind-blowing, right? So you have to settle with 2. Even 2 is crazy expensive. So the only fix really is greater affixes. And getting the base items is just like a very impossible task, so... That's why I'm probably not gonna approach this build further. Because it's just too min-maxed. And getting, like, if you play Firebolt, it's like way easier to reach what you need. Yeah, I don't know when it drops. But, you know, let's wait for it to be active and then actually see if it works. But I mean, even that hotfix is not gonna fix Sorg. Just gonna give you a little bit of extra damage. But it's not gonna fix the Immortal meta. Which I absolutely hate. These are not even dying. What is wrong with them? But I guess, you know, if you're like literally playing all day, I guess you can do all this stuff. But for me, it's like I'm already like at the end of this probably. I'm not gonna get much higher. Technically, I could get to tier 110. The problem is if I have like just one problem with cooldown at the bosses, I just die. So I guess like from the stats wise, it would be possible. If I had like 1 greater FX cooldown reduction. And there's basically... come on, it doesn't even matter. There's basically 15% extra damage you can pick up from Charge Glyph. Which I cannot do at this time. But yeah, it's just... Like at this stage, it doesn't really feel like fun to play at all, honestly, I have to say. Like, I might as well just test some other stuff. I mean, I could probably go on with this, and I might, you know, be lucky and get like 107. Maybe I get the 108, but, you know, that's probably gonna be it. Attack power doesn't mean anything, just ignore that. The stat is irrelevant. It really attack power really doesn't use any conditional modifiers, so... If you have damage to distant, for example, attack power won't account for that. If you have vulnerable damage, attack power won't account for that. If you don't press space in town, attack power won't account for your Aces boot. So really, just don't sweat attack power. It really doesn't mean anything. But I mean, Sorg is pretty busted. I mean, you know, the Firebolt build is, you know, pretty high actually in the leaderboards, right? So, but that's a very special build because, you know, the burning damage just scales like crazy, obviously. I don't think I can even finish this one here because I died like twice. Maybe if I get an easy boss. Else I'm just gonna restart like all the time. It doesn't matter if you stack crit or vuln damage, it's exactly the same like any other damage. So there's really no difference between the damage type you stat. They're literally all the same. There's absolutely no impact on your play. Obviously, if you're stacking crit damage and you have a low crit chance, it's gonna be a huge impact. But other than that, these damage types do exactly the same. So it's really not an issue. Like if you have vulnerable damage, it's exactly the same like having cold damage. Like having whatever damage. They're all the same. It's really just the height of the roll. Yeah, that's a problem. You need to have 63. No, with the pod. So you have to have I don't know the breakpoint yet, but you know, whatever you have is not good enough. I think it's 63. I think 113 is the attack speed breakpoint there. The best one is technically, I guess, Close. Because Close has the highest roll with 100% uptime, essentially, on bosses. And then depending on your crit chance, cold damage, vulnerable damage are all the same. Crit damage, again, it depends on your crit chance. I would say if you have 80% crit chance, I would go for crit damage. If you are lower, I wouldn't. This like so annoying. I hate this goddamn flame shield. I don't want to play anymore. I'm gonna test my Hydra stuff. I can't deal with this. It's just too bad. I don't have time for the boss anyway. I have never played Fireball on a controller. But okay, I do one more. I try one more, then I'm done. This is too frustrating for me. I'm gonna put this build to the close. I don't answer mails. This is just for commercial. There's also a link below the email address displayed that it's only for commercial requests. Oh. I hate this game. I really hate this meta. Like, it's just not fun. It's like the same, like, AOZ was no fun to me. This is the same, honestly. AOZ was even worse because you had to add the damage reduction from like while injured, which was even worse, I feel like. Attack speed is very important. No, it's not the limit. It can go to 110 easy. I would just have to get more cooldown reduction, basically. So if I could freely, like, you know, play. Because I literally, every time I have to move, I lose 30% damage. If I would have the Flame Shield uptime, by just getting, like, a little bit more gear, I could go higher with this. But also, I think that this hotfix is not out yet, so with the hotfix you can probably go a little bit higher. But, yeah, I mean, this is still, like, this build has a very, very clear limit, right? Like, there's literally nothing you can do to scale your damage, even... Well, I mean, you can have godly items, right? So if you have greater affix on all your items, you know what? You're gonna scale probably, like, 2 tiers higher or something like that. I think the highest frozen orb I've seen is, like, tier 110. Yeah, the Conjuration spawn limit is absolutely horrible. Because literally you only have like a 33% chance to spawn a Conjuration in reality. Because your Hydras and Ice Blades are always going to be kept no matter what. Or is Rapid Fire also in the hotfix? I mean, it doesn't feel like it. But maybe, you know, I wouldn't be surprised if the Sorc hotfix is not working at all. I mean, I just don't feel like I'm doing more damage. But maybe that's wrong. Who knows? Cannot base that on a feeling. But it was really fun, like, in the lower tiers. I mean, like, pushing with this is really no fun. But the lower tiers were really, like... That was fun, I have to say. Like, while you are, like, advancing the gear and getting stronger and stronger and stuff like that. But now you have, like, this very, very hard breakpoint with the cooldown reduction and stuff like that. And you really just need, like, very strong, greater affix cooldown reduction items. And I cannot buy them. I would buy them, but, you know, there's, like, literally nobody trading on Eternal. So if you're, like, on like, if you're in Seasonal, like, it's pretty easy to trade for those greater affix cooldown reduction items, right? You just trade yourself a greater affix cooldown reduction Winter Glass and a greater affix cooldown reduction Tal Rasha ring, and you're good to go. That shouldn't be a huge issue. I mean, if you have the resources, obviously. But without trading, this is like really next to impossible to reach. Because you gotta brick so many items. And the only items you can brick are the uniques, basically. But nobody's trading the uniques, so... Yeah, but 20 Conjurations is just not enough. Like, you just gotta put it into perspective. That's like a 120% damage increase. Like, the other classes have damage increases in the thousands. Right? So... It's just not gonna cut it. Wow. This is really no fun anymore at this point, I have to say. Oh god, I'm gonna die. Yeah, I mean, I would recommend, like, you really need those greater affix items. Like, without the cooldown reduction, it's just gotta be so busted. But I mean, it was fun while it lasted, though. Did a pretty cool build. You don't want to go to like the very high gears. But I mean, Firebolt's probably like a million times better. If they really would lift the limits on the conjuration, this build would be pretty cool. But I mean, you know, they wouldn't lift the limits on Ice Blades, obviously, because there would be infinite Flame Shield on literally every build. Because you can get so many Ice Blades with Ice Blades enchantment if they wouldn't be limited. But at least, you know, I don't know. Maybe they should limit the Ice Blades, unlimit the Ice Blades, but just have, like, you know, a maximum of 6 trigger cooldown reduction or something like that. I don't know. But, you know, that's way too complicated for them to develop. Like, there's no way Blizzard can do something like that. All they can do is tweak numbers. Everything is like suppressor. If they nerf flame shit, like literally Sork is done. like literally, like nobody's gonna play the class anymore even. I really hope they fix Sork in the expansion, man. They gotta fix Sork survivability. Like in D3 you at least had like Archon, which was like, you know, pretty nice, but this is like the state of the current Sorks, just like it's like absolutely terrible. Like it's literally not playable. Yeah, and Sork like really got so many nerfs this season. I don't even know why. Like we already have been like on the lowest point there. Oh, this is a boss I can deal with. Oh, that was so close. That was lucky. I was missing like 0.2 seconds there or something like that. Also, like Blizzard, I don't know how many Blizzards you can stack, but it's like way too low actually. Wow. That was so close. It's like living on the edge. Can die anytime. If I had more unstable current, that would also fix it. The timing is just like way too low there. Really. You can really die like at any of these moments. It's just like one data packet like from somebody else just has to be like a little bit faster than yours. And then, you know, the latency is just gonna kill you. See that? Can do it. So you have a good 2 minutes left. Ah, this game. Okay, that's it. I can't deal with it anymore. Sorry. Just give me greater affix cooldown reduction garbage. But yeah, it's like stupid. Like as you can see. It's just random, and it shouldn't even be random. I don't even know why it is random, because, you know, the Ice Blade's cooldown reduction should be pretty static, actually. But it is, for some reason, not. Yeah, no, I'm just gonna stop playing this build now. Because really, I would need like another 2 days of farming just to get myself some more cooldown reduction, and I just don't have access to greater cooldown reduction items. So, like, there's really no point approaching this any further. Like, even if I could spend a whole day and would probably end up, you know, beating tier 110, but, you know, not what I'm after. This build just has a clear limit. I guess you gotta accept that. Like, without Infinite Flame Shield, it's not even playable to that certain degree, because you cannot dodge. Like, you basically have to fight all the time as soon as you have... No, I don't. Again, I don't have good gear. I have no access to greater affix gear. I cannot trade for it. But I mean, I have greater affix defensive skills, which is +5. With greater affix flame shield, you can go to +6, I guess. But yeah, I mean, you need greater affix cooldown reduction stuff. You need like 2 greater affix cooldown reduction or so, and it's so easy. Maybe even 1 would be enough. Like if you just had, you know, this focus is like terrible. I mean, it has like 3 rolls on Frozen Orb, which is pretty nice. But you know, this basically needs a greater affix cooldown reduction, and then you're good to go. But it's just like these last little percentage points are like, that's what's killing you. Like, you have to get this probably like below like 11, like, you know, 10.9 or something like that, and then you're gonna be fine. Yeah, with 2 hits, but that's probably good. But I would rather spend the 2 hits on the flame shield duration, I guess. But yeah, I mean, that's pretty much the story with this build, really. So I accept my limits. Well, it's 0.1 second per level, right? So you have 0.1 second and 50% duration, so it's 0.15 seconds per level. So that's like 0.15 seconds would fix it for me. Like, that's all I'm missing, really. I'm missing like, you know, maybe 0.2 seconds, somewhere around that. So I'm really not missing a whole lot, but I'm definitely missing the last few points. And that is also latency, right? So latency is a big issue with Flame Shield because it also has a cast animation. You cannot forget, like, Flame Shield isn't instant. It has a cast animation of like, it's probably like 10 frames. Like, you know, probably like one, like 0.2 seconds, 0.1 seconds cast animation you have to add on top of this. And then you have to add latency. So my latency is not very good. Like, you have to add my 65 milliseconds latency as well. So that's like basically another 0.2 seconds. So that you also have to keep in mind, and I'm just too low on that. So yeah, you basically need greater FX cooldown reduction for this. Even like these double crits, they are not strong. Like this double crit on cooldown reduction is way worse than just a single greater FX. Like this one is pretty good, I guess, right? But it's worse than one single greater FX cooldown reduction. Like also this, like it's worse than one greater FX cooldown reduction. It's just so strong, but you know, I just don't have access to that stuff. So so I guess I gotta, like, you know, accept the limit for this build. Because I really don't want to go on farming for this. Like, I'm kind of sick of it. I want to try something different. I really want to try the Hydra. So what I want to try is really, I want to try Hydra. Because Hydra actually does good damage. So if you compare like the Hydra damage, right? If you, like, Frozen Orb has like 60 to 80k. And if you max out Hydra, you're already at like 26k, and you know, you get more Hydra ranks? No, you don't get more Hydra ranks than this. But so Hydra basically does 26k tops and Frozen Orb 83, right? This shoots 4 times with the same speed than Frozen Orb, basically. And this one you can scale with fire damage, and you can scale with burning damage. And you can still use the Winter Glass to get your Conjuration Mastery stacks. And you can have 6 Hydras at a time. You know, I don't know how strong it is, but, you know, it might... yeah, you have to. Well, it depends what you're doing, right? If you're pressing 2 buttons at the same time, you know, the game will decide which one to put first. But Flame Shield has kind of it has like a casting duration. And it has like some kind of latency. So it's like kind of weird. But yeah, I think, you know, pure Hydra, I want to definitely test that, because you can use Asus Ferocity, which gives you like, you know, 25%. And you can use like the burning nodes, which are like fairly strong actually. And it's like the only unlimited node is, I mean, Searing Heat also is like obviously, of course it's limited, right? So, because Blizzard limits Sorg everywhere she can. But where's like Burning Instinct? So Burning Instinct is not limited, right? So if you go all out critical strike damage, you can reach somewhere around, let me say, you can reach somewhere around 1000% crit damage. And also you can go, like, for the Hydras, you can also use like the Hydra glyph there, whatever it's called, Invocation or something like that. So this one gives 27.7% crit damage. Honestly, I don't know if it counts for this one here or not. It might not. But that is actually a pretty strong multiplier, right? No, hitting vulnerable enemies is not crit damage. So it is a pretty strong multiplier. And then you can also use Firebolt enchant and Hydra, which has also native burning. And then, you know, you could either use Firebolt with Hectic, or you could play it with Conjurations, with Frozen Orbs. I think you have both options. Not sure. I mean, I might have to try this, but I think there's like at least some potential that this can do damage. I don't think that it's gonna like beat like tier 130, but you know, it might be viable for like tier 100. And it's way more relaxed. Anyway, so I'm gonna call this build. I'm gonna try something different. I'm really not gonna advance with this. Could be out. Who knows? Anyway, so I didn't feel a huge difference, so maybe they just screwed it up. But, you know, I would have thought that I would feel way more than a difference. But I have to test at the dummy. Like, never believe anything what Blizzard says, basically. You can get crazy crit damage on this stuff, by the way. So yeah, anyway, so thanks for watching and see you guys.